witnessed the arrival of the 20th century. His thoughts flew not to the beginning of the next century, but to 1,000 years in the future.
A 1,000 years hence. To a poet, 1,000 years hence. I who am dead 1,000 years and wrote this sweet archaic song, send you my words for messengers, the way I shall not pass along. I care not if you bridge the seas, or ride secure the cruel sky, or build consummate palaces of metal or of masonry. But have you wine and music still, and statues and a bright-eyed love, and foolish thoughts of good and ill, and prayers to them who sit above. O friend unseen, unborn, unknown, student of our sweet English tongue, read out my words at night alone. I was a poet, I was young. Since I can never see your face, and never shake you by the hand, I send my soul through time and space to greet you. You will understand.
The 20th century brought many more changes to Bishopsteignton, though some things remained the same. At the beginning of the century, the Methodists of the village met in this cottage in Fore Street. It had been converted to a chapel in about 1850 and had seating for 70 people. At that time, the windows were arched, but these are the original railings. By 1900, there was widespread support for a new building. A site known as Town Tenements Farm was purchased for just over £300 from the lord of the manor, who happened to be the vicar of the parish church. Everyone was invited to buy a brick. Bazaars were organised to raise funds, and donations received from local members, from Mrs. Mary Carpenter and her family, who owned Huntly Hydro, and from Methodist visitors who stayed at Huntly. In February 1908, building commenced. The new church was opened in August of the same year at a cost of £993, and by 1916 all loans and debts had been paid.
At the outbreak of the Great War, the village did its part. Men went off to fight, and at the school the boys made wooden toys, which were sold to buy wool for the girls to knit socks. The girls knitted 400 pairs of socks, and these were sent to soldiers and sailors. The children received many letters of thanks from the men at the front. Another war effort was to supply blackberries. The government paid 3p a pound for these. Blackberries from Bishopsteignton were taken up country by train. In 1918, the children picked 807 pounds, as well as the ones they ate. There was a great relief when the news came that the war had ended. 23 men from Bishopsteignton did not come home.
Our village hall was born just after the First World War. The site was the orchard of Kitto's house, complete with a surrounding red stone wall. A large ex-army hut on Salisbury Plain was obtained, and local builders set out to fetch the sections. The plan was to demolish the orchard wall, to widen the road and erect the hut further back. But when the sections of the army hut arrived, one side was missing. The problem was solved by resting the roof on the red stone wall and using that as one side of the new hall.
The new village hall became the meeting place of many clubs and organisations. One of the first of these must have been the Brownies. And here we have Megan and Charlotte, who are modelling for us tonight. They are wearing brownie uniforms from the 1920s. Here come Natasha and Charlotte wearing the uniform of the Girl Guides in the 1930s. In the first part of the 20th century, there was a May Day tradition in this village. Children would parade around the streets. The girls would put their dolls in decorated boxes. The boys would carry circles of hazel branches, bedecked with flowers. As they walked around the village showing off their dolls and flowers, they hoped the adults they met would give them a few pennies. The Express and Echo newspaper, published on May 3, 1928, reported that Bishopsteignton Maydor Day did not receive the same welcome as their parents did when they were young. Somehow the atmosphere of villages is now changing.
Well, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Well, it's very nice, Mr. Stooks and the parish council to invite me here this evening. And it's so nice to see so many of you to come here and watch this little ceremony. I would also like to thank Mr. Hurst. Mr. Hurst, he is the engineer and he is the clerk to the Teignmouth Electric Company. And I think he's done a very good job to get you all interested in this your electric light for Bishopsteignton. Now, this year be a red day for the Bishopsteignton. I know it's been a long time coming. But of course us have had our troubles. First of all, us had the strike. And of course, having a strike, us couldn't get our materials through to get the job done. But never mind, us have got it now, and us will soon be starting. Of course, us had trouble with the Devon County Council.
Oh, yes.
They wanted us to put it underground. And I told them us couldn't afford to put it underground. It was going to cost too much money. Anyway, after a lot of talking, they agreed us could put it overhead. Now I know a lot of you here have already got your houses already wired up for the new electric light. Well, let me give you a little bit of advice. When you bait using it, switch it off. Because you only pay for what you use. So that will be good economics for all of it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to come here this evening to switch on the electric light of Bishopsteignton.
In the 1930s, there was an aerodrome on Haldon. You could fly to Cardiff and back for £5. One local resident took only 1.5 hours to fly home from London. There's no sign of it now, but maybe if you look up at the sky.
Church was built in 1938. It is dedicated to St Mary Magdalene. The money for this building was donated by 2 sisters who also financed other churches in Devon.
To save lives from the bombing raids in the Second World War, children from the cities were evacuated to the countryside. Bishopsteignton received children and teachers from Stockwell Road School in London. By November 1940, there were 89 children living here.
Everyone, this is Bishopsteignton. This is where we'll stay until the war's over, away from all the bombing and the air raids.
What a lovely place.
I'm going to like it here now. I saw some real cows.
But where will we all stay? It's a long way from London and we're all tired.
Do you think we'll have air raids here? I noticed they have shelters in the school playground.
We're all going to share the village school.
James!
James! I think all of you are here. Some of your group are going to stay with people in the village, but all of you are going to stay at Tapley Hostel. It's just down the road. Would you all follow me, please? The evacuees settled into the school and village life, and some stayed on long after the war was over.
Good evening. This is the news from the BBC, the Bishopsteignton Bulletin of the Century.
1945. The war has ended, but 13 village people were killed.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them. When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow we gave our today.
In 1949, Scouty Paulette has been appointed Scoutmaster.
1950. New houses have been built. The road has been named Wallace Grove in honour of the much-loved Mr. Wallace, who was headmaster of the village school for 41 years. Mr. Wallace himself was present at the naming ceremony.
1951. Gord's bus service has been sold, but the removal and storage business continues.
First, please. Going first, please.
The ruins of the sanctuary chapel were purchased by the parish council. They will be used as a garden of rest.
In 1962, Lindridge House has been destroyed by fire.
Mother Goose, the first pantomime, was performed in the village hall. £29 and 10 shillings was raised for the Scouts and Church Restoration Fund.
Reverend Ingram, the vicar, said that the most hopeful sign for the future of the village is that the newer residents are joining in the social and civic life of the community.
1967. Miss Thornton has started a garden club.
Bishopsteignton Children's Theatre was formed in 1967 by Major Bob Caldwell, his wife Jane, and Sheila Robbins. Over the years, hundreds of village children have taken part in many different shows. A committee of adults run the theatre. We would like to pay tribute to them and all the many adults who have helped us over the years.
1973. The promised new school is open.
A committee has been formed to save the old school. There is talk of pulling it down to build a block of flats.
The Save Our School campaign is organising a village carnival.
After 5 years of fundraising, the old school has been purchased for the village for £10,000. It will become a community centre when Reg Pepperell and his team have finished renovating it.
1981, to celebrate the royal wedding, a street party was held. 1984, the village museum has opened. The committee are asking for suitable objects to fill the space.
Scouty Paulette has retired. He sent this message to the new leaders. You leaders, remember the citizens of tomorrow are in your hands. Make a good job of it. It's hard work today with this generation, but it has its compensations, so don't give in.
1987, the ladies of Bishopsteignton have taken their last walk from the main road to Shoot Farm.
1996, a village flower and produce show is being staged to raise funds for the community centre roof.
Bishopsteignton is twinned with La Roche-Maurice in Brittany. On a cold day in May, people from both villages gathered in the parish church for the final signing of the charter.
Firstly, may I say how very happy I am to be here today for the second and final part of our twinning ceremonies.
Thanking you all for the warmth of your welcome since yesterday morning here in Bishopsteignton.
And the trees of the village shout, clap their hands. And the trees of the village shout, clap their hands. And the trees of the village shout, clap their hands. And you'll go out with joy.
Bonjour tout le monde. Je parle de la part de l'association de jumelage de Bishopsteignton.
But I saw a fascinating sign. It was fixed beside a farm. There was a pole like this and a sign coming out above it. And it said, potatoes for sale. So much a bag. Potatoes. And some clever soul had written underneath, twinned with pomme de terre. When you get to that stage, twinning has arrived.
Make me a chapel of your peace. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. In giving to all men that we receive.
J'ai pris la première venue, enfin.
Then it was up the hill to the community centre for the cutting of the cake, made by Bonnie Day, a toast to friendship, the unveiling of the plaque and exchange of gifts.
Et je peux dire, sans jeu de mots, que c'était une très bonne idée.
To celebrate the union of the two villages, the Children's Theatre put on a grand show with English and French favourites.
1997, a children's player was opened at the Lawns on April 11th.
Everybody big breath. Right, we go. Ready, go.
Sing it, sing it, sing. Get a leg for me. Sing it, sing it, sing. Got one for my team. I had my next since Easter, and now it's half past 3. So sing it, sing it, sing. Get a leg for me. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
31st of December 1999, a grand village event has been organised by the Millennium Committee. Carols, parties, disco, a parade, and dancing in a blue and white marquee, and no entry fee.
I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, "Give me a light, that I may tread safely into the unknown." And he replied, "Go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be to you better than light."
Joy come to you, and to you your also too, and God bless you and send you a happy new year, and God send you a happy new year.
She took it like one who knew that through her child, the best and worst will change place all the time.
What now?
A bottle of wine and a loaf from the baker's?
Can I join you?
I was just going to ask you.
Say bye.
And so we give thanks for the centuries that have passed, for the continuing community of our village, for the lessons learned and the goodwill passed on to us from the generations that have gone before. We have inherited a wonderful countryside, a peaceful land, and knowledge beyond all previous generations. We have been given all this in trust by those who have been here before us. Let us strive to do the same for our future generations, with the strength and love of God to help us.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a wonderful evening tonight, and thanks for all those who've taken part and helped to produce this. We're going to have a prayer in a moment, but first of all, we're going to take a line of light. We're going to pick up our 1,000-year candle, and we're going to light it in a big chain, and light our Millennium candle, which has been specially designed by a parishioner, our one and only Bishopsteignton Millennium candle. We're going to light that from our 1,000-year-old candle. So first of all, I need to say, are there any volunteers who'd like to light the candle? Yes, there are quite a few volunteers. So come on here now. Love in our lives, delight in the good, forgiveness for past wrongs, and from now on,